Well, we're now back with another question for our agronomist Ben Pease from the Andersons. This one today comes in from Mr. Fids, and it is, can you avoid dollar spot by water management, rolling, or fertilizing?
Yeah, that's a good topic. Thanks for the question. The short answer is no, but the longer answer is yes. We can greatly reduce our dollar spot incidence with cultural practices like that. So some of it, if you're doing any renovations or overseeding or regrassing, things like that, we can work in some dollar spot resistant varieties. But they're being kind of pushed to their limit already with decreased mowing heights that we're seeing today and the trend of reduced fertility as well, and increased traffic, increased rounds. So even a dollar spot resistant variety is going to need some help on the cultural side, like he's asking, in regards to water management or rolling and fertilizing. So one thing that the research has shown on water management is if we can keep the soil volumetric water content slightly higher, that leads to less dollar spot development. So it's not like you want to flood your greens, but greens are fairways, but you just want to keep them out of water stress. And most turf managers are cognizant of that, but don't let them dip into water stress. Keep the soil volumetric water content, a bit higher if you want to reduce dollar spot. There has been a lot of good research out there over the last decade or so on using rolling. So there was a study that was done in 2012 by Giordano at MSU, and they found that you could reduce dollar spot incidence even by rolling just once a day. And it didn't matter the time of day. So I know most of us are rolling right after mowing, or if you're not mowing, you're rolling right in the morning. But you can do it. They figured out you could do it morning or afternoon, and you'd still get the very similar dollar spot reduction. So that's a big thing, rolling or dragging if it's a larger area. Basically, we're trying to remove the dew, remove that, morning gutation, and they've also showed that rolling contributes to like a more prostrate growth. So we're instead of growing upwards, we're growing outwards. And that seems to have an effect on reducing dollar spot incidence. In my mind, fertilization is the big thing that's kind of dipped in dollar spot management recently. Well, not recently, maybe over the last 10 or 20 years, kind of the running to see who can use the least nitrogen. Well, that's counterproductive when we're trying to reduce our diseases, especially dollar spot. Dollar spot's a low nitrogen disease. So um, making sure you're on a good fertility program that's feeding the turf what it needs and not starving it. That's a really big way to reduce dollar spot. So we want to start with our slow release granular base, and this works for warm season turf or cool season turf. Granular base in the spring, and then we're supplementing throughout the year with foliar applications and maybe a couple other granular applications if the weather permits. But yeah, fertility is a big part. Along fertility and rolling, I think, are the biggest parts of dollar spot management outside of standard fungicides.
What fertility rate would be necessary to reduce the dollar spot?
Well, I think you got to average about a half pound of nitrogen or more per month of growing. So that could be 4 to 5 pounds in a warm season setting, 3 to 3.5 in a cool season setting. Over 4 for cool season, yeah, we're going to get too much thatch and things of too much growth. So really, if you can stay above 3 pounds per thousand up north, and 4.5 down south, that's really going to go a long ways. If you try to feed your greens at 2 pounds per 2 pounds per thousand for the whole year, you might see a little bit more dollar spot incidence. Because, like I said, it's a low nitrogen disease. That's one of our best indicators of low nitrogen is dollar spot.
You got to be smart there. And you mentioned dragging and maybe dew whipping. So is that something that you can supplement instead of rolling?
Yeah. So anything you can do to remove the water in the morning, the gutation. So yeah, sometimes you'll carry a dew whip and get some greens whipped off if you're not rolling, or if it's a large area like fairways, even though there are some fairway rollers out there now, but more commonly we're still using ropes or weighted ropes or a full hose to do larger areas like that. and it facilitates the same concept. Maybe there's not as much downward pressure, but you're still removing that dew and guttation, which is a big factor. So, yep, dragging can work as well on
Very
the larger
important.
areas. Yep.
I know the do
Good
rope's one of
question.
my favorite tools on the course. I love seeing that thing go around. It's so satisfying.
That's the funniest tool. I remember seeing one of those for the first time, and I had no idea what it was. But then once you get to use it a little bit, you know, it becomes a little bit of fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just got to be careful where you're going or where your buddy's going.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Thanks to Ben Pease and the Andersons for another installment of Ask the Agronomist. We will see you next week. If you want to get a question in, send it to us or send it to somebody at the Andersons and they will get it to us.